pause on these past tracks. What a waste, and I'ma let you in for a moment. They said he hold it a rock, told it a block, go your pride to my town.
We are live. It's Wednesday night, Spittin' with Spitter. How y'all doing out there? Before I introduce my guest, I'm going to pay some bills and get this dudes out of the way. Please click and subscribe to M1L Media. That's our YouTube link. Go to the 2M1L Media Facebook group. You can catch all our shows there. Our shows are Saturdays and Sundays. We got Around the Turnbuckle with the Big Alboski and Professor Keith from 6 to 8 p.m. Sunday nights, we got Cipher Knowledge with Chrissy at 8 p.m. Tuesday nights, 6 p.m., we have Home Team. God damn, we got a lot of shows, man. And Wednesday nights, we got me, TJ Spitter, 8 p.m. We got a legend in the building today. We got the People's Champ, the Building Shaker, your favorite DJ's favorite DJ, DJ Menace. What's good, my guy?
What's going on, TJ? In the building, man. What's up?
How you doing tonight, man? It's a pleasure. I'm humbled. It's a blessing. Thank you. I appreciate this from the bottom of my heart.
No doubt. I appreciate you reaching out to me, man. That's what's up.
Absolutely, man. When I started this, I was trying to configure guests, and like, I keep it real hip hop, basketball, like self-help, things like that. And I was like, I gotta get Menace on. I gotta get Menace on.
Man, I appreciate that, for real. Word up.
Yo, absolutely. Like, you were one of the reasons why I got my first set of Technique 1200s. We're gonna get into that. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm gonna tell you the story. Okay. We're gonna get into it. But you've been hold on, we got some comments coming in. Menace, when the comments come in, I'm gonna pull them up on the screen. You'll see them. That's my brother right there, Big Al. Let's go. Appreciate you, my brother. Now I know you bleed and live and die by this culture of hip hop, right? So at what age did you fall in love with it? At what age did it click for you?
All right, so like before I was a DJ, I was a break dancer. So I fell in love with the whole hip hop culture. Actually, before I was even a break dancer, I fell in love with the hip hop culture. Probably when I was growing up, I was probably like maybe 8, 9 years old, and I used to listen to the DJs mixing on the radio. And when I heard Run DMC, Rockbox, and stuff like that, I fell in love with the music. And like, I'm a big, like, Run DMC is like my favorite group all time. So like, the real early age, I was staying up late at night into the wee hours of the morning, listening to like DJ Red Alert and all the DJs mixing live on the radio. And I never, at that point, I never thought I was going to become a DJ or nothing like that. I just wound up becoming a breakdancer when breakdancing started popping off and this and that. So I didn't actually think I was going to be a DJ when I fell in love with it, but that's when I fell in love with it.
That, you know what? That's so dope, because my next couple questions was like, did you experiment? Like, a lot of people don't know, like, there's some joints that belong to the culture. DJing, graffiti, breakdancing, MCing, beatboxing, you know what I mean?
Right.
And for me, like, at 10, 11 years old, I was beatboxing. I thought I was the shit. You know what I mean? And then later on, I started rapping, and then like there was a defining moment, right? Like, my people had brought me to Underground Set up there on Hamilton Street. Shout outs to Power D, DJ Rec and them. Yeah. And somebody was getting busy on the turntables, and it was around the same time there was an underage joint, and I heard this guy going bonkers on the 1200s, going bonkers. And I was like, yo, I don't know who that is, but whatever he's doing, I want to do that. So I saved up my money. I got my first set of 1200s, bro. Thank you.
That's dope.
Thank you. Yo,
that is so dope. That is so dope. I'm just so thankful that I grew up in the era before all this digital stuff and all that, so I could actually experience what the real DJs who started the whole thing, manipulating records and all that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I still use the Brain 12s and I manipulate those. They work just as good as the 12s. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I'm just so thankful that I grew up in that era where I could really appreciate the art. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Like, I was talking to I got a couple people that are like close to me that are DJs, and I was talking to my guy. I was like, you've never experienced loading up your car with crates of fucking records, trying to rock a show,
bro. Bro, I used to DJ in all the big clubs in Philly, bro. We used to carry like 25 crates of records in a Mustang with my 2 boys packed up with records. And because I can't go nowhere back then, there was no playing nothing off the internet, playing digital. If you didn't have a record, you know, I had to make sure I had all the records, Michael Jackson, whatever I needed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
There was no dragging, clicking. Like, you had to have that shit.
Bro, that's one thing that built a lot of fucking character for me, because that shit really, I'm blessed. I'm just blessed. That was hard work back then, but it made me so much better. You know what I mean?
I wish I got so heavy into MCing that like I wish I kept all the equipment that I had then. You know, like I'm that's one thing I kick myself in the ass about today, is that I sold all my DJ equipment, and like to this day I still get the itch, and like I have my people come over, they bring their little setups, and I get busy a little bit, but like damn, that's one thing that like. So what was the experience like because you know we're close in age, right? So I remember what it was like when they ushered in like the CDJs and Serato. Yeah.
Well, I mean, when they started moving that stuff in, like, you know, of course, like, because I was down with the original culture. When they brought that in, you know, I was kind of not receptive to it at first, but then, you know, the way I operate, in which way I'm able to operate, is that I'm able to change with the times. So I had to change with the times, but I didn't ever go to no CDJs. I stuck with the 1200s all the way until they found something that duplicated the shit perfectly, where I'm still manipulating records, where I'm still mixing. I'm not using none of that syncing stuff that they use. You know, I don't knock none of these new guys for doing that, but that's not what I grew up on. I want to put in that work because I feel like the crowd wants to see me put in that work, and they can tell the difference.
And you know what? And they really can too, because like it's such an art form to like just scratching, right? Like I haven't been out and heard a DJ scratch in damn near a decade. You know what I mean? I'm like, that shit is a lost art, bro. It's a lost art.
I'm still at it, bro. I'm still at it.
One of my fondest memories is once I became 21, we came to your after hour spot, and you was freaking Tanya Stevens Goggle remix with the Buster beat.
Word.
And I was like, yo, this is something special. Like your reggae sets is something special. Shout out to you and Catch 22 for keeping the culture alive.
I appreciate that. Like when I first started DJing, you know, I mean, like it was all hip hop and club freestyle and this and that, but I eventually like grew to love reggae and dancehall. So I took pride in being, you know, like not one of the Jamaican DJs or whatever, but being from the US and being able to put it down as good as they do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I respect their culture. I respect their music.
And that is, you are one of the heavy influences for me to dive into the reggae culture, because you were the first DJ that I heard playing reggae sets. It was like, and this is how it stuck in my mind. It was like Beanie Man's Old Dog, Memories. And it was a wild night, bro. It was a wild night. Classics, bro.
Classics. And I learned a lot of that stuff. Like I had a couple mentors when I was coming up and stuff, and they put me down, and I was in the radio stations in Philly and in the clubs in Philly, and I learned a lot from them. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I thank them for that. Shout out to Gary O, DJ Rand. You know what I'm
saying? Gary O's from what? He was from
Philly.
Hot 97 back in the day.
Power 99, yeah.
Oh yeah. Power 99.
Actually,
I'm sorry, that's my fault.
He actually put me on and connected me, and then I got on a few times on the radio over there, and you know, and all the clubs, and like, and he's an OG in the game, and I learned a lot from him. You know what I'm saying?
Dope, man.
I learned a lot as far as like crowd control, and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, because when I first started out, and I was just doing house parties and stuff like that. You know, I was more into the underground hip hop. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I eventually saw the dollar signs in the not crossing over, because I don't feel I ever really crossed over, but I went the club scene and the party scene where I wanted to make that money. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, it makes sense. I'm gonna take it back for a second though, because again, as we're having this conversation, like I hate the word interview because you're my people, right? So like this is different than that, you know, like my first mixtapes that we were making at 13, 14 years old were just the pause and the record button.
Right.
You know what I mean? What was the first What was the first mixtape you made?
It was actually like club freestyle music.
Word.
Cause like I said, I was transitioning from being when breakdancing started to like die out, and all my peoples lived in the projects, and that's all they used to listen to was the club freestyle, and that was kind of the music. It was sort of like the b-boy music, so I was into that before I eventually got heavy into hip hop.
Word. We got some.
So I would say my first mixtape, like. Yep.
B-Jock City is chiming in. He said, "Who are your influences?"
Well, my original influence was Jam Master Jay of Run DMC. Because I had seen them, like I told you, that I heard them on the radio, and I fell in love with Run DMC when I first heard Rockbox and Sucker MCs and all that stuff. And then I saw them live in concert when I was very young. And I seen Jam Master Jay, his just stage presence, and even Run and Jay, just the way they put on a show, that shit just totally inspired me to be to be somebody that could put on a show like them. You know what I mean? So I would say them, Jam Master Jay, Run DMC.
And I've heard you break down Rock the Bells before. Let's not get it confused. You know what I mean? Like the influence is there. I heard
a lot of these kids don't know. I mean, like I said, I feel blessed that I've been through these eras, man. I'll kill me some Peter Piper and Rock the Bells. Trust that.
Oh, I know. Yo. Yeah, it's taking me back. I'm about to make, as soon as we're done, I'm about to make an old school playlist before I go to work to get busy.
Word.
So is Run DMC, would you consider him your favorite DJ?
Jam Master Jay was like my favorite DJ. Rest in peace to Jay. He was just an inspiration to me, like that really got me motivated to really go heavy with the party. You know what I'm saying? Because they just had that party feel. They had that showmanship, and I wanted that. I wanted that bad.
Word. My brother Jay.
Like when I go in and play at a party, there might be like 3 other DJs, and some of them might think I'm trying to show them up, but I'm not. I'm just doing my thing because I rock with a lot of energy. I'm not trying to overshadow you, but that's how I rock.
Word.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. You are definitely a showman. My brother James is chiming in. He said, "What are some of your go-to songs to get the crowd hyped?"
Like current or old? Current songs or old songs?
We're gonna start with old songs. We're gonna work our way through this one.
I mean, if you're talking like classic shit to get the crowd hype, like, I mean, I think the #1 club banger of all time is Busta Rhymes, "Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Can See."
Go ahead.
And then I would get into Memphis Bleak. and Jay-Z and stuff like that. And I mean, like, there's a lot of stuff. It depends on what genre, but I have a lot of stuff to get the crowd hype.
Word.
Mm-hmm.
I had back in the day, there was a couple local spots that I DJ'd at. But back in the day, if I wanted to shut the bitch down, it was MOP, Annie Up, and Locks Wild Out back to back.
Right. The bouncers used to get mad at me when I played. The bouncers at the clubs used to get mad at me when I played Wild Out, man. But I used to play it anyway. Fuck it.
Yeah, you can't stop me, shit. And yo, that like, there's nothing like seeing a crowd, like their level of adrenaline going up when you're DJing.
No doubt.
One of my favorite mixtapes from you, mixtape series, is Titans of the Dance Hall.
Word.
What inspired you to make that series?
Because I always like to do something different, like, and I just feel like, I don't know, like, even like before reggae, when Baltimore Club first came out, I feel that I was the first one that started really bumping that shit, and then everybody kind of like not copied. I mean, they just started going with the flow because they saw how it rocked. But like the reggae, I feel like some of the DJs got away from the reggae and shit like that. So I wanted to go in a different direction. I wanted to be different than everybody.
Right.
You know what I mean? So when I did the Titans of the Dance Hall, that's why I put a lot of exclusives on there from the reggae artists, just to let them know they fucking with the big boys.
I love it, man. Like, yes, definitely
you know
are.
I mean?
And with that, like they say, the best form of flattery and imitation go hand in hand, right? But I also know that there's some Menace haters out there. How do you deal with that?
Of course there is. I mean, bro, honestly, man, the hate never stops. I feel like I've been hated on since the beginning. I mean, probably because of the color of my skin, first of all. And then, you know, there's always like, let me tell you a story one time, right? I was doing a party. I was DJing with Power 99 at the time. Right. And this one young boy DJ came up there like, oh, fuck that. Why does Menace get the chance? Why is this and that? Fuck that motherfucker. Why don't you give me a chance? Like, bro, really? So you know what happened? He got his ass knocked out. I knocked his ass out. But that was in my younger years. But I mean, the hate, I don't understand the hate, man. I mean, I can understand you be envious of somebody, but the hate is just, I mean, the hate is just ridiculous. I know it's competitive. This is a competitive thing. This DJ thing, this hip hop stuff, it's always competitive, but bro.
Yeah.
The hate is ridiculous.
It's definitely a competitive sport. And I never understood that, right? And like, that's one of the reasons why I had you on, man. I always want to give my people the flowers while they're still here. You know what I mean? Like 2020 has been crazy.
I appreciate that.
You know,
I appreciate that because a lot of times I feel like people overlook. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but I've been doing this shit since the late 80s.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? And I went and did a 3-year bid. I went and did a 3-year bid in the 90s and then made my mind up when I got out of jail. I was going hard.
Right.
As a DJ. You know what I mean? And a lot of people don't know that story. You know what I mean?
When did you realize that this was your path? B Jock City chiming in. Shout out to my brother B Jocks.
Well, like I said, when I was locked up in the 90s, I was locked up from 92 to 95. I really didn't listen to a lot of music in jail because I would get depressed because it was just like I'd be hearing shit on the weekend and I'm stuck in here. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but I had focused in my head that I was going to get back to DJing and I was going to go hard. So when I got out, you know, I started doing some parties and I started picking up steam and then the magic just happened and then I just stuck with it. You know what I mean?
And as you should, because the culture needs you. 110% the culture needs you.
I appreciate that. I mean, I don't hate on all the new music. I mean, you know, it's not my cup of tea, but I have to adapt to what this generation listens to. So, but don't get me wrong, I feed them classics. I teach them lessons sometimes. You know what I mean?
As you should. Clinton Baltimore is chiming in. He said, "Yo, Menace, what up?"
What's good, Clinton? That's my man Biggie. We call him Biggie.
Word. That's funny. That was my first nickname when I was like 11 years old.
That's dope. That's dope.
I was one of those. I rapped well, wanted to be a basketball player, etc., etc. All that shit went by the wayside, but the nickname Biggie stuck for a very long time.
That's funny. That's dope. That's dope.
So you're not only a super dope DJ, but you're a business owner. Like,
yes,
you own Catch 22 Nightclub. What's that like? What's that like?
Well, I started Catch 22 in 2002, and I did that because the prior years before I opened that club, I was working everywhere. Like, I was DJing everywhere for every club, every party that meant something in the Valley, I was doing. Right. So I seen all the money that the promoters and the club owners were making, and I was like, why? I'm the one bringing all these people. There's no reason why I can't do this on my own. So I came up with a plan. I gave it a shot, and I put myself in $100,000 debt and gave it a shot, and it worked.
And that shit paid off.
Knock on wood, I'm still here. I mean, knock on wood, I'm still here. It's not the easiest thing to deal with because I dealt with a lot of course, there's a lot of hate. There's a lot of people that try to bring me down or whatever. I mean, it's just, I guess that, when there's levels, there's devils coming at you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's how I look at it.
I tell my people all the time, like, the devil don't be showing up with a pitchfork and horns, man. Like, they be your people. They be your supposed people or whatever.
On the back. Sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes that happens. Yep, and that's happened to me. Yep.
And that's the hit for me, right? Is like, you gotta know how to read a room. You gotta know how to read the audience. Everybody that say they're your people ain't your people.
Right, exactly. That's 100.
You know what I mean? Like, secondly, and my brain is all over the place right now, but how did COVID, this damn lockdown, affect your business?
Well, we shut down for the first couple months. I think it was 2 months or 2.5 months. So we were totally closed. So it was no business. And then we opened back up as soon as things started getting a little, where they started being a little more lenient on businesses. So we opened up, and I'm lucky that I have 1,000 people capacity with 3 floors, because when they gave us 25%, we could still rock with over 200 people.
Right. Spread that shit out.
People would wear masks, but then of course they wouldn't really keep them on or nothing like that. And thank God nobody that I know of has got sick. Right. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, we still rocking as we speak, like getting a few hundred people a night.
That's so dope, man. That's such a blessing. And let me say, shout out to you while the lockdown was going on. You were doing live sets on IG Live and Facebook Live. And you were keeping us third shift workers. You were keeping us third shift workers afloat on when that shit was going on.
That's good shit. Good shit. That's what's up.
Now, what's up? Like I said, I know you personally, so I know you rubbed elbows with a bunch of dope artists, right? That have done a bunch of live shows at your building. Who did the dopest live show that you can recall?
The dopest live show would have to be, I would say, Mr. Vegas.
Yeah,
Mr. Vegas, he just put on he just had a fun show where everybody was kind of it was involved and everybody was having a good time. So I would say Mr. Vegas as far as a reggae artist. As far as a hip hop artist, I would say 50 Cent.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Yep. I'd say 50 Cent was the best hip hop show.
Yeah?
Yeah, because we had 50 Cent. 50 Cent was originally supposed to be in Reading, PA, but the town of Reading banned him from playing in the area at that time. So they contacted us last minute and they brought him down and he rocked it out.
Damn, that's so
that was right before he blew up.
That's crazy. That's how to rob 50?
Yeah, exactly. He was so controversial at the time that Reading wouldn't let him perform.
That's crazy.
So I gladly took that.
As you should,
you
right?
Feel me? Yeah, and it wasn't even about making money. It was just about making a statement.
Right. Shut that bitch down.
You know what I mean? Right.
Do you think, like, now that we're years into the game, right, and you've been doing this so long, Carlos Rivera chimes in, big up to DJ Menace, absolutely.
What's up?
Do you think the art of turntablism is dead?
For the most part, I think it is. For the most part, I mean, you still have like the DJ crews that do, you know, the tricks and all that stuff like that. But I mean, as far as like, if you go to most 90% of the clubs and parties, people are playing on CDJs or whatever. You know what I'm saying? They're just not playing like. I mean, there's no excuse because they have the Rain 12s now. The Rain 12s, that's what I use, and it's vinyl. You just don't have the needle in the arm, but it still manipulates the record. You still have to mix the records. It's the same size as the 12s, the records and everything. So there's no excuse. But I mean, it's just, I think people just don't like to carry around the heavy stuff. But I always carry that. I don't care.
Do you still cop vinyl?
I still have my two 1200s here in the crib. I have vinyl, but I haven't bought vinyl recently. Right. Because unless you really want to buy it, you have to go online and search for it.
Yeah. What was the first record you bought?
The first record I bought ever?
Mm-hmm.
It was KRS-One, Boogie Down Productions. I'm trying to think of what the name of that album was. It was his first album, KRS-One.
Okay. Dope.
So it was like Criminal Minded and South Bronx and all them classic KRS-One joints.
We got another one. Forgive me if I say your name wrong, as I hear Shabazz. Let's go, my guy, DJ Menace. Shout outs to Team Catch 22. Shout
out my guys out here, repping Philly. That's shout out my guys out here. You know who his pops is? His pops was the former world champion, Joe Frazier.
Really?
Yeah, that's his pops.
We in here tonight. It's a little lit. It's a little lit.
Zahir's my guy. That's my guy right there.
Shout outs to you, Zahir. Yo, funny story. The first record I didn't buy it. The first record I ever took, my mom had the Grease Lightning soundtrack on vinyl.
Okay.
I fucked that record up trying to scratch. She was tight. She was so tight.
I bet.
I remember putting the nickels on the cartridges, trying to get it to scratch right.
Yeah,
thank God for all the fun.
I ruined a lot of records. I ruined a lot of records with them pennies and them nickels.
Boy,
because I'm real heavy-handed.
Me too. Yeah.
I remember when I was practicing with the Peter Piper records, I had to go back about 4 times and buy new ones because they were all scratched up and damaged because I just beat on them.
Yeah. I remember, like, I think it was Jay-Z's Blueprint. Yeah, I believe it was Jay-Z's Blueprint. Whatever one had Give It To Me on it. I had doubles of that record, and I fucked that record. I destroyed several of those records. Man.
I bet.
So
damn, but that's go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm listening.
No, I was just saying that's dope. When you said that, it just makes me think when you told me that you started DJing because of me. That's crazy.
Yo, like it was almost like a trifecta, right? It was you, Butterball Ed, and Cap C, and I seen like in that month, I was like, this is something that I just gotta do it, man. Like, and like, cause I already loved the culture. I was already a hip hop kid, you know what I mean? Like, all encompassing. And I was like, you know, here we are. And I could have I could have told you that years ago, you know what I mean? But like I said, we gotta give the people their flowers, you know what I mean?
Word. I appreciate that. That's crazy though.
Absolutely. So with the current state of the hip hop climate, I'm gonna ask you a tough question. Who are your top 5 artists right now?
Top 5 right now.
Right now. Because you know I'm gonna follow it up with the all time.
That is a hard question right now because I mean Busta Rhymes is my all-time favorite, so I gotta put him. He's still doing it. So he's my all-time favorite solo artist. His new album is ridiculous. So I would say Busta. I mean, these young kids don't really know about Busta, but like I gotta put him in there because he's been rocking it since the 80s, man, and he changes with the times and he still comes out with bangers.
3 decades later, bro. There's not too many in the game that can stay that consistent.
So I'm not sure if Busta counts in what the question you asked me, but Busta got to be in there. I like the kid Bobby Shmurda. I like his energy. So, like as far as party music, I mean, as far as new rappers go, I always like Meek Mill. Meek Mill is one of my favorite new rappers. Drake, of course. I think Drake is dope. Drake is just, I mean, almost everything he puts out is pretty much a hit. So I think Drake is dope. And he's not like, I know he's mainstream and everything, but the kid got bars too. You know what I mean?
And here's the hit about Drake. Like, cause I caught myself being a Drake hater for a very long time, right? Because if you tell me you don't pen your own shit, I no longer want to listen to it. But then like I kind of have to take like me out of the equation and just understand like the entertainer he is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's definitely, I don't know if you would consider him a rapper because he sings, he raps, but he's definitely an entertainer. I mean, honestly, like I could pretty much play most of his catalog and everybody dance to it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
We got Zaire
so
chiming
I gotta give him props on that.
Facts. Zaire's chiming in and said, DJ Menace, who is your favorite DJ of all time?
Jam Master Jay.
No
Jam
question.
Master Jay.
No question.
Yep.
So who else is in your little hip hop list? We got Bobby Shmurda. We got
like I said Bobby Shmurda, Meek Mill.
Mm-hmm.
Drake. Who else do I like? I like J. Cole. J. Cole. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like hard to think of who I really like these days because there's a lot of one-hit wonders or two-hit wonders. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. We are in that ADD music era that like people can't get enough fast enough. You know what I mean? So it's constantly on to the next thing.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like a song could come out and a month later they said that's like these young bucks say it's old. Like y'all don't even understand. You know what I mean? Like you gotta really think like when Jay-Z got classics, I could play Busta Rhymes, Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Can See right now in a club with a bunch of people 22 years old and they still rock to it because I feed it to them. But like imagine the artists today, are you going to be able to play their records and songs in 10 years? Right. Not most of them.
Not most of them. And that's what I try to tell these younger kids. I'm like, y'all have no idea what it's like having to play the tape all the way through. No pauses, no rewinds, no fast forwards. There's no digital downloads. Come on, man.
That's what I'm trying to say. Cats don't know how much money I had to spend and how I had to wait in the mail for the record labels to send me the records. I couldn't just go download it. They have no idea what I went through in that grind. I used to drive to Philly. I used to drive to Philly and New York to go to record pools just so I had records that nobody else had. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That was the game. That's how the game worked back then.
I remember taking the bus to Underground Set because I was in Phillipsburg at the time. There was no place around me to get vinyl.
So you feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, most definitely. Zaire chimed in. He said, Menace, who's your favorite rap group of all time?
My favorite rap group of all time is Run DMC.
Word.
And my favorite solo rapper is Busta Rhymes.
Word. Zaire chimed in. He said, how do you make a classic album in today's time?
That's hard to say. I mean, I guess you have to follow the formula that Drake is doing because he's really the only one I can think of who you can say any of his shit is really classic. It's gonna be classic.
I mean, you know, it's really hard. Like, I'm older, you're older. It's hard for me to give that title classic.
It is. So that's what I would say. Drake's the only one that comes to my head right now that has the potential of having classic albums. Because you know what happened to hip hop? This is what fucked hip hop up. When they started suing for people sampling is what made hip hop dope back in the day. So when they started, they weren't able to sample records. And then if you really look at it, how many motherfucking rappers today have DJs? They took that shit all out of the culture. You know what I'm saying? Why the fuck wouldn't you want to be a rapper with a dope DJ behind you scratching and rocking your set and putting on a show just like you're putting on a show to a crowd? But these rappers today, they don't. They just want you to plug in a fucking zip drive, play this shit, and they're gonna go out on stage and rap. Like they took the DJ away, so that shit affected hip hop.
They already got their little set list on their hard drive.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is if you got a dope DJ that could scratch your shit and put on a show, also with you to enhance your show, why the fuck wouldn't you do it?
Right.
But that's not the mentality, I guess. Of that. They just don't respect the DJ as far as when it comes to the music anymore.
Man,
I think that's the way I feel.
Kids, if you are watching out there, please pay attention because Menace is in here dropping these damn gems. Y'all better pick them up. My God. Yo, but
I'm
you're
just
not
saying.
wrong,
I mean, like I said, I have nothing. Like I'm cool with a lot of young bucks. I'm cool with a lot of people. I respect a lot of people's grind. I like this and that. But like, I've been doing this shit a long fucking time, so I experienced a lot of shit these motherfuckers didn't experience.
Right.
So, and even though if I tell them that they might not understand or respect it, they just don't understand the motherfucking shit that I've experienced. Like I experienced the shit from the ground up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Carlos said facts. And that's where my appreciation comes from. You know what I mean? Like, I remember being 13 years old and getting punched in the mouth by an older dude because I roasted him in an MC battle. He was so hot that I tore his ass up. He wanted to put hands on me.
Yeah. But the good thing about back then, you could throw hands and it'd be over. Nowadays, you gotta worry about a motherfucker trying to shoot you and kill you.
Absolutely. Like people, man, listen, we that's a whole different episode, but we could get into that too.
I know.
People are afraid to throw the digits, man, because everybody's shoe happy.
I mean, we had our people when we were growing up that wanted to be gangster and tough guy, but these people that don't you see rappers getting killed over dumb shit because they're doing this gang shit? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just don't make sense. Like, you work your whole life to try to get up and make music, and then what happens? You die too young because you want to be the tough guy.
And like, I do a lot of speaking. I have different speaking engagements, and there was one time I spoke at the juvenile detention center, right? And I had told these kids, like, I've been locked up, I've been in the streets, and the streets aren't providing you health insurance and 401ks and longevity in life. And these kids had no idea what I was talking about. You know what I mean? I'm like,
yeah,
yo,
it's a shame.
It's a shame. It's like, I'm trying to tell them, it's like, it's way bigger than your block. You know what I mean?
But here's what's fucked up about that. Like, they look at us because we're older and they think we don't know what the fuck we're talking about. But these dumb motherfuckers don't know that we lived that life before them.
Absolutely.
The fuck?
Absolutely. Like, I remember bawling like a baby the last time I got locked up. Like, crying like they about to take my life away. This shit ain't that gangster now, is it?
Yeah, I feel you.
You know what I mean? Like, we got Wayne Michael Loud, that's my guy, chiming in. He runs the Circle Jerk podcast. Shout out to you, my guy. He said, how you feel about Jadakiss? That man can flow.
Jadakiss is dope. I always like Jadakiss. I even like Jadakiss when he was with Diddy in the shiny suit, because the locks, Jadakiss and the locks always been dope. So yeah, respect to Jada. Jada's that real New York hip hop.
And I think a lot of people, I mean, East Coast people give Jada their credit, but this dude hops on everything he hops on, he murders, whether it's an R&B track or a solo joint, he kills everything. Facts. Yeah,
I definitely like Jadakiss.
Zaire Shabazz chimed in and said, TJ Spitter, I love your show. Keep being great. Very humble, my brother. Thank you very much. I appreciate you, my guy.
Word.
So, you know, I don't like to keep my guests long because, again, like I said, we're in the ADD era. You know, we'll bring you back on for a part 2. But before we go,
I got a lot of shit. I have a lot more shit we can talk about, man. You bring me on anytime. I like to give the knowledge. I like to try to make people learn the fucking shit they don't understand, all that. Bring me back anytime, bro.
Absolutely. But before we go, what's it like being a Cowboys fan, a Detroit Piston fan right now?
Oh, Lord, my fucking sports world is horrible right now. It's just horrible, man. That's what it's like. But you can never, that's one thing you can't do. You can't leave your team. You just stick with them, you know, even if you're an Eagles fan.
Yo, I've been a Raiders fan my whole life, bro. It's tough times.
So you know the struggle.
I do know the struggle. Oh,
the Cowboys are having the roughest time of my life.
Yeah, we're not that far behind. We got a new stadium, but that's about it.
Yeah, how about it?
Yo, so what's in your playlist right now? Like, what do you listen to? Do you listen to anything other than hip hop, R&B, and reggae?
I mean, to be honest with you, like during the week when I'm in the car and shit like that, I listen to like classic rock and shit. Like
me too.
That's what I listen to. Like, I guess that's what I grew up. Like, my mom used to play that shit when I was a little kid. So all that music and all that MTV shit is in my brain, and that's why I'm fucking blessed to be able to know all different types of genres of music, because I can click the rock station on and rock out, or I click over to the hip hop station, I can click to the classic station, all that shit. So I listen to a lot of different shit. Like, I've been listening to some of the Sirius XM shit online lately too, Shade 45, shit like that. But I mean, for the most part, when I'm in the car going to the store or something, I listen to classic rock. It gives me a little different escape. It gives me a different escape because I'm playing reggae and hip hop all the time.
Absolutely. I got like 25 different playlists of all different types of genres for that very reason. You know what I mean?
But that's dope. Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. And that, especially when you're a DJ, that's good for a DJ to know different music, because you might get into a party where a motherfucker wants to hear some shit you wouldn't normally play.
Absolutely. Yo, I remember back in like 06-ish, I was DJing this little hole in the wall bar in Phillipsburg, and like from like 10 to 12, it was nothing but like bikers and hard rock and classic rock. So I had to be really well versed.
Right, exactly. There's nothing wrong with that. Shit builds character.
You damn right.
Yep. And then motherfuckers will remember that shit too. Like, you just don't play one thing.
Facts, bro. Facts. Now, before we get out of here, I always ask my guests, is there anything like, because I primarily ask all these damn questions, Is there anything you want to ask me before we go?
So one, I wanted to shout you out because your show is dope. I checked it out a few times even before I've been on and shit. So I just wanted to give you respect on that. So where do you want to go with this music thing and with this show and all that from here?
You know, I'm
like, what do you get out of it? Like, what does it do for you?
Well, for me, it's like, and I don't know if you've seen all my guests or whatever, but like, I want to put people on that have a dope story that like, not necessarily everybody has heard. I could give a fuck less about me. I'm just the name of the show. You know what I mean? I'm just the guy conducting the conversation. But like again, like, you know, now at 40 years old, like I want to be as selfless as possible and just be a bringer all the time. You know what I mean? So I just want to bring good content, you know. As far as music goes, like I no longer really want to rap. One of my guys has kind of forced my hand a little bit, you know, and another one of my guys be having me come to the crib and scratch and this, that, and the third. So it kind of keeps the fire lit a little bit. But like I kind of want to get some of these young kids under my wing and executive produce their project, you know.
Okay. Oh, that's dope. That's dope.
As far as the podcast goes, I'm gonna convert a part of my living area into the studio and make the shit a little more official. You know, just keep grinding, man. I started this when COVID hit. You know what I mean?
Okay. That's good. You're doing good.
I'm humbled and blessed, bro. Like I've been talking about doing a podcast for years. Like, and me and my wife were throwing the idea back and forth and da. And then my brother came up with the name. He was like, yo, you should call it Spittin' with Spitter.
That's a dope name. I like that.
I was like, fuck.
I like that shit.
And ran with it. Wayne Michael said, great content as always, my guys. Love seeing the grind and the commitment. We salute you. Menace, where can they find you at on these interwebs? Plug all your plugs.
Instagram is DJ Menace 610. And Facebook, I'll spell my name. It's Geza, last name Frey. And then I have the Facebook's funny though. I got like the DJ Menace, the business page, but that shit really don't be moving unless, you know what I'm saying? They want you to just pay for advertising and they won't sell any shit. So I really don't post on there. But the Instagram, I got my Instagram popping, and on my Facebook, you can get a hold of me like that.
Word. Real quick, another funny story.
All you gotta do is Google DJ Menace 610. I'm sure the shit will pop up.
It does, kids. Real funny story. Most people don't know my last name because I don't have my government on any socials or whatever, but my last name's Frey too.
Yeah.
It's funny how that shit works.
Damn, we might be related somehow.
Menace, my
it's
brother.
Possible.
Listen, my dad was the milkman.
I don't even know who my dad was, so maybe we both got the same dad.
Yo, Menace,
it's
again,
right.
I appreciate you, my guy. Thank you for coming on the show. It's nothing but love, respect, and it's a blessing to have you here.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate you. With that, yo, it's Spittin' with Spitter. I'm signing off. Y'all have a good night, man. Peace.
I'm looking at the man in the mirror. I need a break. Stress weighs on my soul until it starts to ache. Time pass on these past tracks. What